Listening to Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk Mississippi, covering Mississippi State sports like nobody else. With Sports Talk Mississippi's Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk of On3 Sports. Now get ready for Thunder and Lightning.
This is Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk here with you on a Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us here at supertalk.fm or wherever it is that you get podcasts from. We appreciate you guys out there, our great listeners, especially our servicemen and women out there taking care of us. I want to thank our sponsors over at Strange Brew Coffee House and Churn and Spoon Ice Cream. Start your day the right way with a trip to the drive-thru over at Strange Brew Coffee House here in Starkville or at Brupolo over in Tupelo. It'd be a little weird, Robbie, if Brupolo was in Zamuli.
That would be really weird. Sounds like, some kind of tea or coffee drink they could put together, though.
Zamuli sounds like a website like Temu.
Yes.
It's like, hey, where'd you get that jacket? Oh, I bought it on Zamuli for $9.99. Regular price, $350.
Exactly. Or one of the free TV apps that my dad uses.
Okay, yeah. Like, what are you watching right now? Oh, I'm watching Face Off. Oh, what app is that? What is that on? Is that on Netflix? Is that on Amazon? No, it's on Zamuli.
My dad has all those, the Fubi or whatever. Tubi
is
Freebie.
Quality stuff now.
Oh, that's where my dad watches all the.
Yeah.
He has documentaries, like conspiracy documentaries that
I wish I could do an impression of your dad. I can't do one.
Hey, son.
Yeah.
That's an impression. So I got him a TV the other day. Surprised him. I have video of this.
You got your dad a new TV?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure I sent.
You're a good son.
Maybe I didn't send this to the group, but so I got it.
I have not seen this.
So mounted it.
Mm-hmm.
Got a sound bar, all that stuff, and mounted on the brick in his living room. He's had this TV for 15 years, just sitting on this old piece of furniture or whatever. And that's just where, he's got his little chair, and he sits right there, and the TV's 5 feet from his face. So we've decided, my sister and I decided, it's time for a new TV, and we're going to move it to the center of the room on the fireplace.
Oh, no.
And so my dad is very
particular. Here happening.
No, not yet.
Okay.
My dad is very particular about his stuff. So I had to make sure that everything he had all of the apps, because I got him a Fire Stick a couple years ago that had all the apps and all that on it. So we got him a smart TV, 55-inch, mounted it, looks great. Sound bar sounds great. My dad likes the surround sound, all that stuff. So when he came in the other day, I was blaring Thunderstruck live from Donington or something, and he was he was in a daze. He couldn't believe what he had right in front of him. So I had to set up the Tubi, Freebie, whatever that is, Paramount, Peacock, and he doesn't pay for any of these things either.
Right.
My sister lets him use her apps.
Yeah.
So he's good to go, I think. They were watching Hallmark movies the other night, and his favorite show is Psych and Monk. So
Monk.
Yes, he is a big Monk and Psych fan. So I made sure he had those available. So anyway, go to Strange Brew Coffee House.
You said it.
Which is one of their favorite places on the planet, my mom and dad.
Yeah. The Mississippi Beef Council wants to remind you that beef, it's what's for Christmas. That's right. This holiday season, everybody's cooking beef. Away in a manger? No. Away on the big green egg. That's where you're going to find your prime rib this holiday, this Christmas. This Christmas, you want to be cooking beef for the family. Beef, it's what's for Christmas, thanks to our friends at the Mississippi Beef Council. That's right. I just changed their slogan without telling them.
But also away in the manger.
But also away in the manger. It is the I won't go so far as to say that beef is the reason for the season. How about that? That's a bit too much.
What was the words in away in the manger? The cattle are lowing.
Hold on. Away in a manger.
No crib for a bed.
The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head.
The stars in the sky. This is a different. This is the second verse.
I'm getting there. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay.
The cattle are
lowing.
Lowing. What's that mean?
It's like mooing, I guess. I guess you could probably just say mooing.
Okay. Well,
I don't know. I can't think of the second verse now.
I prefer my cow on a plate,
Yeah.
cooked at medium rare to
You cook it at a
medium.
low temperature,
Yes,
but you do need to sear it
flowing.
at some point. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. We will not. Yeah, beef is the reason for the season is a bit much, I think. I feel like it could be the reasoning for the seasoning,
especially if my mom's listening.
Yes, yes. That would be the one where she's like, "Okay,
I'm done.
I'm done with him. He can't say that." Beef is the reasoning for the seasoning. I don't know.
And our friend Nathan Taylor, he's in a conflict of interest too.
Yeah.
On that because he likes to cook some beef too, but he's also in the business.
Beef, it's what's for Christmas.
There we go.
Stick with that. So, I'm going to see how many Christmas carols I can work into these beef reads for the next few days.
We're running out of time.
No, I can make it work. Don't worry. College Corner, collegecornerstore.com is the place to find the maroon and white merchandise that you are looking for. We might be a little tight on shipping at this point from collegecornerstore.com. So if you can, a lot of people still make those trips to Jackson for shopping on the holidays. Head over to College Corner, 2 locations there, Ridgeland by Fleet Feet, followed by the Half Shell, and grab some great Mississippi State gear. The logos that you want, great name brands, fantastic stuff for your house, for your car. Everything maroon and white. It's available at College Corner. Restaurant Tyler, Starkville's flagship restaurant for lunch, dinner, Sunday brunch. The best meal in town is at Restaurant Tyler. And if you're looking for a great holiday gift for someone who lives here in Starkville, a Restaurant Tyler gift card is a fantastic idea. You can hook them up with some great meals with a simple purchase of a Restaurant Tyler gift card. Just head by the restaurant, and you can buy those whatever you want for however much you want. If you want to enjoy a great meal, if you want to get a great gift, make it food at Restaurant Tyler. Priority One Bank, 16 locations to serve you throughout Central Mississippi. Let PriorityOneBank.com be your guide and show you not only where they're located, but show you how they're going to help you invest, manage your money, and prepare for the future. Now more than ever, it's important when you have questions about your money, you want to get answers. You can't afford to wait around. That's why you get the level of service you do at Priority One Bank. Let Priority One Bank make you their priority. Let's talk some basketball. We're going to start a little happier today. Let's do that. I say it's happier, but I don't know, because this basketball team has played really well so far. They're 9-1. They played just a couple weeks ago, or not even a couple weeks ago. 10 days ago, whatever it was. The best game I think I've seen them play under Chris Chance. Absolutely dominated a top 25 Pitt team on both sides of the court. But they've shown you sometimes where they get out to some slow starts. They're not as crisp as they need to be. They haven't had the consistency throughout the lineup. You're getting different guys double digits each and every night, but you're not finding, it's not the same guys every night. You can count on the team, but you don't know who the individuals are you can count on outside of Hubbard. Mm-hmm. Hubbard, you can pretty much pin him in for double digits. Kanye Clary, still injured. Saw him, he was on the bench this past Saturday. Just so I'm correct, because there's been there's some some people like, oh, he's not really hurt. And when Keyshawn Murphy was suspended last year, was he on the bench?
He was for one game maybe, but I think didn't he leave on his own?
He kind of left the team. Yeah, Clary was on the bench.
I mean, here's the thing with Jans is he's tell you.
Been open about suspension,
and I've talked to people, within the program that have confirmed they would tell us that they would specify whether it's injury or if he was Moultrie knee or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not a Moultrie knee. He's legitimately injured and working back. I don't know how long that's going to be or what comes from it, but it feels like they need to add him back into the mix. I don't know. There's just something's off the last couple of games, and I don't know what the answer is, and if it has a lot to do with Kanye Clary or not. But I know I'd much rather have him on the court than not.
Yeah.
So you're seeing some increased minutes for Delquan Warren, who I think is really coming along. I think he's going to be a good player, yeah. But you would much rather see Kanye Clary in the mix here. It kind of broadens what you can do as a team. So hopefully this isn't something that's going to be super long term, and he's able to get back hopefully for SEC play or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, we really don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Getting back to the team. So we know what we've seen from this team through 10 games. They have some really good wins and some good. I mean, they handled Utah at a neutral site. Not really neutral, but it's still. They go on the road and are able to win that game with SMU. They play Pitt at home, dominate that game. They've been really good. The SEC, however, I think this is easily the best year I can remember. I think the record right now, the SEC is 143-20 as a conference.
That's crazy.
So 16 teams, you're averaging 1.2 losses per team, something like that. It's an insane number. This conference schedule is going to be a bear. There's just no getting around how difficult men's basketball is going to be this year in the SEC.
And really, like, you look at the teams that the SEC's beat is even more impressive.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC has gotten some huge wins so far this year, and you got 3 teams that are undefeated right now. You got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that have 1 loss.
Yeah.
So 10 teams have 1 loss or less in non-conference play.
Yeah.
Out of 14.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing. And South Carolina right now is the worst team in the SEC, and that was a team that was kind of a surprise last year. It's kind of weird.
I was just looking at their schedule. They're 7-3 on the season. They have 1 bad loss to North Florida. The other 2 losses are to Xavier, who was ranked 22nd at the time, and Indiana, who, Indiana is not great this year, but they were ranked at the time. Excuse me. And they're 7-3. So, like you said, that's what? 12% of your losses are 1 team.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive.
And then,
that's who State starts off conference play with. That's the first game, January 4th. They take on South Carolina.
Alabama is 8-2, and they've played a very difficult schedule to this point.
Yeah,
it's really impressive, and it's going to be an absolute gauntlet. Every single night is going to be a war in the SEC. There's not a whole lot of teams that I can point to that in the past you've been like, all right, that's a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
In the past you look at like Missouri, or there's been some years where Vanderbilt was really bad, or, even LSU. But this year I look at the schedule, and there just are not many games that I'm turning to that I look at for Mississippi State or anybody as a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
It's going to be really incredible to watch and see how it unfolds. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like Auburn right now is the best team in the league. They're 9-1. They lost at Duke.
Yeah, that's their 1 loss is to Duke.
I feel like Auburn is the best team, but I can't sit here today and say Auburn's your SEC champs.
Right.
I think Tennessee has been really impressive in the early going. Florida's been better than a lot of people thought. Kentucky's been better than some people thought.
I really thought Florida might, with the stuff that came out before the season. I thought they might struggle to get through that.
That seems to have gone away. I mean, nobody's really talking about it.
Yeah.
But the SEC is just going to be an absolute gauntlet. And like I said, these teams are prepared coming into conference play. They've played these like huge neutral site games. They've gone on the road and played tough teams. The SEC has built itself this year to have a run, I think, in the NCAA tournament. And, we'll see how it plays out. But it goes back to what we've talked about, investing in your basketball teams in this league, hiring great coaches, putting money in facilities or NIL, whatever. Everybody's kind of upped their game, and you've added 2 teams that normally have pretty good basketball programs. I don't think Oklahoma's men's basketball program is what their softball team or their women's basketball team or whatever is, but it's been a really solid program. And then Texas has been really good too. So you've added even more to it. The SEC has just become an absolute monster in basketball, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah. You got me looking at it here. So, like you said, Auburn 9-1. They lost to Duke, who's number 3 in the net. Tennessee's undefeated. Florida's undefeated. Kentucky's 10-1. Their loss was to Clemson. Clemson is currently 19th in the net. Alabama 8-2, as you mentioned. Both of their losses are quad one. Going down the list here a little bit, Ole Miss is 22nd. Their only loss is quad one. There's Mississippi State. Its one loss is quad two. Georgia has been good so far. They're 9-1. Their one loss is quad one. Texas A&M, 9-2. They have a quad one and a quad two. Missouri, who was the worst team in the conference, winless in the conference last year, but they're 9-1. They're
Who have they? They
beat
beat Kansas.
Yes,
I mean,
who is currently, where is Kansas here? They're 16th in the net. Memphis, by the way, currently 30th in the net, so that's a great opportunity for State this Saturday. Scrolling down a little bit further, so here we are. Oklahoma is 41st. They're undefeated. They're 10-0. Texas is 9-2. They're 0-2 in quad one, so they need to find a quality win, but they're 9-2 on the year. Arkansas is 9-2. Both of their losses are quad one. They're 47th in the net. Vanderbilt is 54th in the net. They're 9-1, coming off of the Stackhouse years where they struggled there. Their one loss is quad one. They're 0-1 in quad one. And then now we're down to LSU. LSU is 64th. They're 8-2 on the year. Both the losses though are quad one. So it's not like they're getting. This time a year ago, some of these teams had quad three and quad four. I mean, State had a quad four loss at this time a year ago.
Yeah.
So
really bad one.
You really hit it there. That like not only is the SEC winning these games, they're winning tough games. This is the most battle proven. Like we talked about the other day, 14-2 in the SEC ACC Challenge, and the two teams that lost were Auburn and Kentucky, who were undefeated at the time. So. We say all that to say Mississippi State is the team right now that I think people are going to look at and go, if the right Mississippi State shows up, they're going to beat us. If the wrong one shows up, we can beat them.
Yeah.
State is a little Jekyll and Hyde at times so far this year. Now they're 9-1, so they're not too much Hyde, but you see some flashes of there. You're like, man, they're not playing. They'll go a 5-10 minute stretch of not playing well and sandwich that around playing great the rest of the game.
And I still think it has a lot to do with the fact that this is a new team that is trying to kind of gel as a unit, and I still think that's where they are right now. The good news is, like we talked about on Monday, they're doing it and also winning games. Now the Butler game was kind of disastrous for them a little bit. Like they just didn't play well in any regard. And the good news is they learned from that. They come out against Pittsburgh and they have their best game of the year. They need to learn from these last two games and kind of move forward here. They played really stale the last two ball games. Won the games, needed to win them, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But I can promise you, Chris Jans isn't happy about just winning those games.
Right.
They've got to get a lot better because the schedule is about to really ramp up. Even in non-conference play. I mean, I don't think Central Michigan is a pushover. Memphis on the road is going to be a war for them. So it's a really good start at 9-1, and your one loss being to a good program. But there's so much more to do. They've got to continue to get better.
So Central Michigan, just looking ahead, they're 5-4 on the year, so they haven't been great so far this season. Losses to Stony Brook, Marquette. I'm not going to hold that against them. Minnesota. Minnesota's a power program, and Valparaiso. I'm sure we can get Richard Carlson here to talk about how what a great team Valpo is anytime you want. So yeah, I mean, we talked about that yesterday. Just don't slip up against Central Michigan and Bethune-Cookman. Whatever happens with Memphis just happens. Looking ahead to the start of conference season, you play, three of your first, it's a home road kind of thing. You get South Carolina twice, which that looks like, if you said a minute ago, there's not a team you would just say that's a win, right? But South Carolina is probably the team you would point to and say you can win both of those games.
For now.
Yeah. Vanderbilt on the road. State has a great chance to be 2-0. Vanderbilt's been a place where State struggled at times through the years, but I think State can beat this Vanderbilt team. And they should be 2-0 when Kentucky comes to town on January 11th. I believe that is the Saturday before classes start back up. So you should have students getting back into town. Should be a great atmosphere. Again, Zach Selman, if you are listening, just another game. No white out, no black out, no blue out, no green out, no red out, no nothing.
What about maroon out?
I can live with a maroon out, but don't call it a maroon out.
Just say
we're
maroon.
We're maroon. But don't.
And please, for the love of God, don't put a thing on the video board that says "Don't rush the court."
Don't put anything on the video board. Just turn the video board off. Don't be tempted.
I mean, the last time Mississippi State rushed the court was like the 90s. I remember going on the court after everything finished when I was in college.
I've been on the court twice, and that was mid 90s. That was Richard Williams was still here. I know they've taken the court a couple times. They took the court when they won the SEC in 2004.
Well, no, it was SEC West in
2005.
2003, I think.
2003, 2004, they won the SEC championship.
Yeah, but it was 2002, 2003, or
Okay.
whenever, or
So
maybe might have been the next year.
2004, 2005, they won the West.
Yes, but and I remember
that
was after the fact. They let people when they got the
Yeah,
other team. It was Auburn, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah,
When Auburn got off the court,
They
they
were like,
let everybody
"Come
come
on
on. And they did the same thing in it was like 2007
Mhm.
whenever State beat Alabama for the West.
Mhm.
It was after the fact. We all kind of filed down. But as true court storming, it has not happened in a long, long time.
I know you're probably looking at. You probably saw this on Twitter, but guess who just entered the transfer portal? I'm gonna give you. It's a name. It's not Mississippi State related.
Zach Calzada.
I had no idea. How is he still eligible?
He apparently, I'm looking at this tweet from our folks at On Three. He threw for 3,744
He had a great year.
yards at Incarnate World. I forgot that this
Word. Yeah.
This guy. I forgot this guy existed.
Yeah, had a great year. Good for him. There you go. This basketball team, if they go 9-9, and they're let's say they beat Memphis, right? So that would be finishing what 11-1 in non-conference. So 9-9 would be you'd be 20-10 on the year if I'm doing the math right there.
If you beat Memphis, you're a top 20 team going to the SEC play.
At that point, you're probably going to be between a 5 and a 6.
Yeah,
assuming you don't mess it up in conference play.
State can easily win 8 games in SEC play and get in comfortably.
It's funny with South Carolina's your first game, January 4th, right? That'll be a good crowd and everything else. Your next 2 Saturday games, 7:30 tip against Kentucky and 5 p.m. tip against Ole Miss. Massive game.
Yeah.
Then you have back-to-back on the road, and then the next home game is an 8 p.m. tip on a Wednesday against Alabama. That's the team that's been Jans's kryptonite.
I feel like State plays Alabama at 8 p.m. every
year.
time.
Every year. And yeah, I don't understand why. What's the next Saturday game? Then you get Missouri at noon. That's the whiteout game. Good job. So Ole Miss is a stripe out. Missouri on February 1st is a whiteout.
It's interesting
There's
did
nothing
that
for
Missouri.
Kentucky. Good.
It's interesting Missouri was the team they did that for.
Because you can't do it for Kentucky. You just can't do it. So that works. How many other Saturday home games do you have after that? So February 8th, February 1st. Then the next Saturday, you're in Athens. The Saturday after that, you're in Oxford. The Saturday after that, you're in Norman. Saturday after that, the next home game is March 1st on a Saturday, as far as Saturday
Really
games go.
good SEC
LSU.
home games this year.
Yeah, Kentucky, Texas coming to Starkville.
LSU.
LSU, Missouri, and then
Florida.
You got Alabama, Ole Miss, and Kentucky too. So, yeah, good home schedule. If anything above 9-9, and now you're talking about Mississippi State being in the 4-5 seed range, and
because
really being a good team.
They've won 8 the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And you look back at Jan's first year, they had lost like 8 of 9 games or something, and the resume wasn't great. Last year, really improved the resume. They won 8 games, and they were pretty safely in. We were sweating it a little bit, but it turns out they were in.
You knew they were in. 2 years ago, they were on the bubble.
Yeah.
Last year, you knew they were in.
Yeah. We still were sweating it. At Two Brothers, we're sitting there going,
I wasn't there at that.
They waited till like the last bracket.
I was on vacation because everybody was yelling at us for not doing podcasts.
Was that then?
Yeah.
It was because that was SEC tournament.
Well, we didn't do podcasts because I left that weekend. So like the State beats Tennessee, and we never had a podcast about that. And then remember the State beats two out of 3 from LSU in baseball. People were losing their minds. I was going to let everybody know right now that my vacation for 2025 is scheduled for the week of the College World Series. So if State goes to that, There won't be any podcasts.
Why would you do that?
Blame other people in my family for that kind of stuff.
You couldn't tell your wife, hey, can we go?
She wants to go.
July.
She wants to go for our anniversary to Chicago to Wrigley Field. So
okay,
that's what we're doing.
Well, you better hope and pray, brother.
I'm not too terribly worried about it.
Well, I know you're not.
So, of course, I wasn't worried about anything last year. Look what happened. So,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So big games this week. Yeah. So you got to handle your business with Central Florida, and then Memphis. Memphis is really a free shot. You know, even though I think you're the better team, you can just look at it as the free shot. Like whatever happens in this game happens. It's a quad one game. If we lose, we win. If they win that game and then beat Bethune-Cookman in South Carolina, they'll start the week of January 6th ranked 20th or better.
Yeah.
So
you would think.
That's how you have to look at it. All right, let's move into the rest of the show. That's brought to you by our friends over at the Mississippi Beef Council. Nope. That's brought to you by our friends over at. I know. I was on a pretty good streak too. You were
on a good run.
I need one of those things behind me that says we've had however many days without an ad read screw up, and we just flip
over.
We flip it to 0 right here. Our friends at Pip Printing and Signs, reliable service for every business need. Whatever your business is, you've got a message you want your customers to know. You want customers to be able to talk about your business in positive terms. You do that when you have outstanding marketing and printing. That's why you need Pip Printing and Signs. If you're a business owner, you need to call Cam Baker today. Tell him about your business and ask him to put together a plan for you, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And that's what Pip Printing and Signs has been doing for 30 years here in the state of Mississippi. Cam's number is 601-499-5216. Call him, talk to him, tell me you heard about it on Thunder and Lightning. Set up a plan for your business to get involved with Pip Printing and Signs, to bring new customers in, to keep old customers coming back. When you need printing, call Pip today. Two Brothers Smoked Meats in the heart of the Cotton District is the place to find the smoked Southern soul food that you are looking for. I know you're looking for smoked Southern soul food because it's great. You want to eat there. Two Brothers Smoked Meats, one of the most popular restaurants in Starkville, and there's a reason for that because the food is outstanding, as it is at the newest, best restaurant in town, the Older Brother, the Fancy Sandwich, the best French fries in the city of Starkville, and a lot of other great stuff as well. It's a small menu, but it's packed with awesome choices. Head over to the Older Brother, head to Two Brothers Smoked Meats right there in the Cotton District, two places Robbie and I love to frequent. You never know, you might see us there, and Robbie will sign an autograph for you for the low price of $29.99.
I don't know if I've ever signed an autograph.
I have once.
Like in my entire life.
It was the most awkward thing I've ever done in my life.
I've never even worked on an autograph because I've just assumed I'm never going to use one. So, and my handwriting is
I just
awful.
have a signature. Just however I sign my name. So I have if you saw my handwriting, you would think I was a doctor.
Yeah.
It's awful. So.
Well, mine is too.
Great products, great service. Every business likes to promise it to you. They deliver it to you at Advantage Business Systems. That's what they've been doing for 50 years.
50.
50, brother.
I said 50. Brother.
When you need business technology.
Assault, brother.
When you need technology for your business, if you need a new copier, new printers, new computers, new laptops, whatever it is, call Advantage Business Systems today. Talk to them. They'll set you up with a great name brand product at a great price. But most importantly, they're going to give you the service after the sale that you need with products like this. Copiers and printers, they go bad, man. There's just nothing you can do about that. You want to know that it's just a phone call away, and it's not a phone call that's going to keep you on hold for 45 minutes, and they're going to set up an appointment for you a week from now. Imagine if your copier wasn't working. Could you go a week without that? Absolutely not. That's why you deal with Advantage Business Systems. 601-362-9192, or you can visit them online at absms.com. Find out how Advantage Business Systems will help your business do business. Trying to save a little money this holiday season while buying the Bulldog fans in your life the maroon and white gear they want? Maroon & Company is here to help. Use our promo code Thunder15. You can save 15% off regular price on any item in store or online. Some exclusions do apply, but 15% off. I used that promo code just the other day. Saved a little money on a sweatshirt for a friend. If you haven't been to Maroon & Co., you're missing out. They have the biggest and best selection of Mississippi State gear anywhere. But check it out. MaroonandCo.com is the website. Maroon & Co. here in Starkville. Before you go to any games in Starkville, you need to go to Maroon & Co. Let's talk some portal recruiting, Robbie. let's just dive right in, huh?
I think we've hit our limit for Beham Dog on the time of this show, so we should be good.
I think we're a little short actually. I think we're a little short.
Mm.
So we gotta go a little further. It's gonna be okay. We for full disclosure here, recording relatively early here on a Monday morning. It's 11 a.m. So the possibility of news does exist, and I'll be honest with you, Robbie. I mean, I feel like if Croman Gardner does commit, maybe we come back in, or maybe I can bring. You know what? We'll just leave future Brian's. We'll leave his calendar open for later. How about that? Just in case he's got to come back in and talk about some potential commitments. I'm really at a loss for what's happening here. That it feels like there's some players out there that would commit to Mississippi State, but they're not getting visits, and the ones that are getting visits are going on other visits, and for a program that desperately needs some wins and some momentum, this staff, man, everything I see about them makes me think I think long term that I don't know that it's going to work. I just don't know because they didn't win any games, then they don't make any changes, and now they're not as aggressive in the portal. Maybe they're being aggressive in terms of getting visitors, but the results aren't there. And this is a results business. That's why they pay these 7-figure salaries, is to get results, and they're just not happening right now.
No. And it's almost like they go through these stretches. It's happened in the last couple of staffs. Like they'll go through these stretches where there's just nothing happening, and people are just begging for something good to happen, and they just like they'll stack good news, and then they'll go like a week or so, and there's just nothing happens, and everybody just gets to the point where they feel like the whole operation's asleep at the wheel, and so these we I don't know how much more we can talk about it, but this next week or so is absolutely huge for this program to try to get some momentum, to try to get some players in here that can help you. I mean, the defensive line thing is just an absolute train wreck. Like everything going on the defensive line right now is a train wreck.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody. They're not adding hardly anybody that's going to help them. I think Red Hibbler is the exception to that. I think he will help Mississippi State. But the names that are popping up, the visits, they're just not guys that are going to help you. And then you're seeing guys that could help you that you're kind of in the game for. They're going to places that aren't very good either, that you should win battles against. So is it a David Turner thing? Is he, I don't think David Turner likes this era of football. I don't think he likes the transfer portal. I don't think he likes NIL and all that stuff. I think he's sour on it. We've seen him tweet about, the man yells at clouds stuff. I can't see it anymore because I'm blocked. But that's the stuff that you're seeing from David Turner. Nobody cares about that anymore. Just land players. And if David Turner's not going to be here in January like that's rumored, why is he here now?
Yeah.
That's the concern with the fan base. So no clue what's going on with defensive line. That's the most important position. You had to have some talent there. And at this stage, they've done nothing to truly upgrade that room to make you an SEC defensive line. And some of the guys they're going after have very little production at schools that are in a lower level. That's very concerning. So the defensive line's my biggest issue. And, offensive line, they're not really landing anybody right now either. And they could potentially get, players over the next week. So it's a wait and see on that stuff. But the early returns right now aren't great. They've helped out their defensive backfield at safety. I think they've certainly gotten some decent players there. There are some good things happening at linebacker. You got to close out, but there's a chance that they can have a couple of good players at linebacker. Wide receiver, they're going to need to close on some guys, but at least they have some names that they're in the game for there. And then quarterback, if you land Croman Hawk or whatever, if you land him, I I think you're pretty good at that position. But the other stuff, the lines of scrimmage are where I'm really concerned about Mississippi State. In cornerback, that have they brought anybody in at corner?
Just the first guy, Javen Williams.
And that's it. And that's a guy that I think's a kind of a depth guy. I like him, but it's just they need good news badly.
It's just this is the thing that you say it when you say it out loud, you realize how bad it is. Is that Mississippi State has money and can offer a relatively easy. I mean, I won't go so far as to say guaranteed starting jobs, but there are some that you're just like, if you're good enough, you're going to start here at Mississippi State in the SEC. So you've got playing time and money to offer, and you still can't get them in the fold. That is a really bad indictment on your coaching staff.
Well, and that's the conundrum that you're in is like you got to have better players, and like how do you get better?
Yeah,
that's the tough thing. State fans are giving money; they're putting you in position, and State's not. And like some of it is, I don't think they're willing to overspend on some of these players. And there's some guys you need to do that for. You need to get those guys in the door. And maybe if you improve your roster and you have a better season, maybe you can convince guys to come here next year for less money. But for now, State's got to be willing to open up the checkbook and overspend for some of these guys. They can't afford to be picky. That we're way past the stage of being picky for some of these players.
right.
They've got to get guys in here that can help them win, even if that means paying a little more money. You have it in your pocket now. So that's the challenge over the next week here.
You know, these next few days, I don't know what the visit schedule looks like. They've got some guys coming in, some guys coming out. I don't know. But I will say that if we get to Thursday and State doesn't have a good chunk of guys committing at that point, we can go ahead and start looking ahead to November of 2025.
Packing up the tents.
Yeah, we can start putting together a hot board at that point.
It's very, we talked earlier on in the season about, the offseason is going to be big for Jeff Lebby and telling people about him, and the early returns of the last couple of weeks are not good. You're not making any changes on the coaching staff. You're not really improving. I mean, there's so much confidence in there. That's what's really weird about the whole situation is I'm hearing and sensing a lot of confidence in that building. They're going to land players. They're going to turn it around, and I think the evidence just is not there yet.
I think that comes from Lebby. I think Lebby is by his own way. He's a very positive guy.
He is.
He gets up in the morning. He's like, we're going to attack today and get all these guys. And then when they don't get them, it's, well, we're on to the next thing. Like, he doesn't allow negativity to bring him down. That's fine.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't mind that. But at some point, it becomes a caricature. And you actually have to have some good things happen to keep that going.
It's the perception and reality thing or whatever. And, like, the perception is that you're not making any moves. And maybe behind the scenes, the reality is different. But we don't have any evidence right now.
Right.
People talk about it's so negative. Well, we don't have any evidence to the contrary at this point.
Yeah.
There's been no evidence that tells us Mississippi State's moving heavily in the right direction, like we saw in 2009. You could see tangible evidence. Mississippi State was getting wins in ball games that they shouldn't win. They were in games that they normally weren't in. This past year, they lost every single game in the SEC by double digits, right? And that's, you weren't getting any upsets. You're not landing. You did get a top 25 class, but at the end of the day, is that class helping you next year win ball games? I don't know. We'll see. And in the transfer portal at this point, you had to be good, and we're hearing they're going to take 15 guys. 15 guys is not going to turn this roster around.
No, it's not even close.
And it's got to be well over 15, and those guys have got to be able to help you win games. And to this point, we just don't have the evidence. They got time. They certainly got time. And, I don't know if they deserve the benefit of the doubt because they've never done it, but, you can at least say it's not over yet.
Right.
So we'll see how it plays out.
We don't have any choice in that matter, so we'll see. All right. Tomorrow's show, let's see. It's supposed to be the rumblings. Let's do the rumblings. But if commitments happen, we might talk about those as well. And plus, we'll let future Brian. We'll give him the night off. We'll just talk whatever happens. Mississippi State, Central Michigan. We'll talk about that on Thursday's show. We'll do that. All right, guys. Have a great Tuesday. We'll be back with you on Wednesday. For Robbie Faulk, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Thunder and Lightning here on Super Talk Mississippi.